It's January 16, 2003. The Space Shuttle Columbia stands tall on the launch pad, framed by clear blue sky. Perfect conditions for a launch. This mission, STS-107, has 7 eager crew members aboard, ready for their nearly 16-day journey. At precisely 15:39, the shuttle lifts off, ascending majestically into the sky. To the onlookers, it's a flawless launch, a reassuring sight since the Challenger disaster. But the cameras catch something troubling. A piece of debris impacts the shuttle. The crew, unaware, continues on their mission. Little do they know, time is running out. In just over 2 weeks, tragedy will strike. Today, we will talk about the second Space Shuttle disaster, the heartbreaking loss of Columbia. This incident bears haunting similarities to the Challenger tragedy nearly 20 years earlier. It's 1977. The Space Shuttle program is in full swing, just 5 years after its official announcement in 1972. The first test flights, focused on landing and gliding, were being conducted with the Enterprise shuttle. Though Enterprise wasn't built for spaceflight, the real star, Columbia, was already under construction. Columbia's journey began in 1975 in Palmdale, California, at the Rockwell Assembly Plant. By 1979, she was transferred to the Kennedy Space Center, ready for her maiden flight into space. However, delays struck when issues with the shuttle's thermal protection system and engines emerged, pushing the first flight to 1981. But finally, success came with the STS-1 mission, a 54-hour voyage commanded by John W. Young and piloted by Robert L. Crippen. The Space Shuttle's thermal protection system, TPS, is critical for surviving re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, where intense aerodynamic heating occurs at speeds up to 17,000 miles per hour. NASA employs various insulation techniques, including reinforced carbon-carbon, RCC, on vulnerable areas like the wings and nose cone, capable of withstanding temperatures from 371 degrees Celsius, 700 degrees Fahrenheit, to over 1,280 degrees Celsius, 2,336 degrees Fahrenheit. While RCC provides excellent heat resistance, it lacks impact resistance compared to other shuttle components. Despite efforts to prevent debris strikes, the shuttle's fragile TPS was vulnerable to debris, notably from the external tank's foam insulation. This foam, designed to regulate fuel temperature, posed a significant risk and tragically played a role in Columbia's final mission in 2003. During early shuttle launches, foam from the external tank often dislodged, becoming debris despite design expectations. Initially considered minor as no shuttles were lost to foam impact, its significance grew during Challenger's investigation. STS-107, originally set for Jan 11, 2001, faced 13 delays over 2 years before launching on Jan 16, 2003, with Commander Rick Husband, pilot William C. McCool, and crew. During STS-107's launch preparations, Columbia was a blend of original and updated components. NASA reported she retained over 44% of her original thermal tiles and 41 of the 44 original reinforced carbon-carbon (RCC) panels on her wing leading edges. Despite her 22 years of service, Columbia had been continually modernized based on lessons from the shuttle program. On January 16, the crew arrived at Kennedy Space Center's Launch Complex 39A. Commander Rick Husband boarded first at 7:53 a.m., followed by the rest of the crew, with mission specialist Kalpana Chawla entering last at 8:45 a.m. The launch door closed at 10:35 a.m. and at 10:39 a.m., liftoff occurred with the ignition of the solid rocket boosters. Around 57 seconds into the flight, Columbia encountered a wind shear at 32,000 feet, causing its nose to shift right. This exerted additional aerodynamic stress on the bipod strut attachment of the external tank, but remained within acceptable limits. However, at 81.7 seconds after liftoff, a large piece of foam, along with 2 smaller pieces, detached from the bipod ramp. The largest piece, measuring 21 to 27 inches long and 12 to 18 inches wide, struck Columbia's left wing RCC leading edge at speeds between 416 and 573 miles per hour. The Columbia mission proceeded as planned, with the solid rocket boosters separating 2 minutes and 7 seconds after liftoff, and the main engines shutting down at 8.5 minutes. Unbeknownst to the crew or NASA initially, a debris strike had occurred during launch. Review of launch footage on the second day revealed the strike, though the extent of damage to Columbia's left wing remained uncertain due to camera angles. Concerned, NASA and contractors began assessing the situation. A debris assessment team formed 5 days into the mission requested on-orbit images, but acquiring them would disrupt experiments. Mathematical modeling suggested potential localized heating damage during re-entry, but uncertainty remained regarding structural integrity. Thus, the mission proceeded with hidden risks, unbeknownst to the crew aboard Columbia. On January 24, 2003, the debris assessment team presented their findings to the mission evaluation room. The manager summarized the presentation verbally to the mission management team, which subsequently dismissed the debris strike as a turnaround issue, canceling any further imaging requests. Although the crew was informed about the potential issue for an in-orbit media event, the concerns were downplayed. An email sent on January 23 to Commander Rick Husband and pilot William McCool reassured them. "Rick and Willie, you guys are doing a fantastic job staying on the timeline and accomplishing great science. Keep up the good work and let us know if there's anything we can do better from an MCC standpoint. There is one item I want to make you aware of for the upcoming PAO event on FT10 and future events. It's not worth mentioning except to ensure you're not surprised by it in a reporter's question. During ascent, at approximately 80 seconds, photo analysis shows debris from the bipod attachment point impacted the orbiter's left wing. The impact appears to be on the lower surface, with no concern for RCC or tile damage. We have seen this on several other flights and have no concern for re-entry." On January 26, the debris assessment team concluded that the debris strike posed no safety risk. Before re-entry, the mission management team held a meeting to discuss the go/no-go decision for deorbiting. The debris strike was only briefly mentioned on January 31, and the deorbiting was greenlit for the following day. It's now the early hours of February 1, 2003. The entry flight control team begins their duty at the Mission Control Center, working through the deorbit preparation and re-entry checklists. The weather is as expected, and all systems appear to be in good condition. At 7:30 am, the crew is informed they are go for the deorbit burn. To re-enter Earth's atmosphere, Columbia's engines need to be fired to lower its orbital altitude. At 8:15 am, Columbia initiates its deorbit maneuver on its 255th orbit, slowing from 17,500 miles per hour with a 2-minute, 38-second burn. As it descends nose up into the atmosphere, wing leading edge temperatures rise to approximately 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. At 8:38 am, heightened strain on the left wing is detected but not relayed to ground or crew. By 8:49 am, Columbia rolls right at Mach 24.5, enduring its peak temperatures. Visible as a bright spark in the sky at 8:53 am, left wing temperatures exceed 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. At 8:56 am, at Mach 20.9 and 219,000 feet, Columbia performs a rollover reversal, shedding debris seen in ground photos. Communication challenges arise. At 8:59 am, a garbled "Roger" is the last clear word heard. Videos at 9:00 am capture Columbia's disintegration. Mission Control faces system failures while reports of falling debris come from Texas and Louisiana. Emergency teams deploy across a 2,000 square mile area, expanding with ongoing search efforts. Following the Columbia Space Shuttle's loss on February 1, 2003, NASA swiftly established the Columbia Accident Investigation Board, CAIB. Comprised of 13 members with diverse backgrounds, the board investigated the catastrophe. They examined over 83,000 recovered debris pieces, including some from the Challenger, though identifying the 7 astronauts was challenging due to the extent of the disaster. The investigation centered on the debris at Kennedy Space Center, akin to an aircraft probe, revealing critical findings. Initial data indicated a catastrophic failure in the left wing, with sensors recording temperatures exceeding safe limits. Analysis of debris showed heightened heat and aerodynamic damage on the left wing, contrasting with the right. The evidence pointed to damage on the left wing's leading edge reinforced carbon-carbon (RCC) thermal insulation from a foam strike during launch, which ultimately led to the shuttle's disintegration during re-entry. The Columbia disaster exposed systemic issues within NASA, including inadequate understanding of foam shedding from the external tank, ineffective inspection methods, and budget constraints exacerbated by IS financial demands. Workforce reductions from over 30,000 in 1993 to 17,000 by 2002 heightened pressure on staff to maintain schedules with limited resources. NASA management's complacency, underscored by inaction after previous foam shedding incidents, contributed to underestimating the risks of foam strikes. Following the disaster, the Columbia Accident Investigation Board (CAIB) recommended improvements, including eliminating external tank foam shedding, enhancing in-space inspection options, and improving training and mission scheduling. The CAIB also explored hypothetical rescue or repair missions, such as expediting the Atlantis mission to rescue Columbia's crew and an in-orbit repair using insulation tiles from Columbia. NASA implemented many of the board's recommendations, including a launch-on-need policy to ensure readiness for emergency missions. The shuttle program resumed with safety improvements and eventually retired in 2011 after the final mission, leading to significant changes in how NASA approached shuttle missions. Thank you for watching this detailed overview of the Columbia disaster. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay safe and curious.